AITA for prioritizing my son's dog over my wife's pregnancy? When my son, 14, was 8, we got a dog. He's half Great Dane and half some dog my friend's dog met during an unauthorized absence. My son loves this dog and does all the care for him, except vet stuff, and is a very responsible dog owner. This dog is pretty much his best friend. My wife is 12 weeks pregnant, and ever since we confirmed the pregnancy she has been acting weird around the dog. She avoids him, puts her hands over her stomach when he is around and jolts whenever he makes noise. Today she told me she wants to rehome the dog. I asked her what she was talking about. She said she has been having anxiety that he will jump on her. This is completely unreasonable. He doesn't jump on people. We trained him not to jump on people or run into people very young because he is half Great Dane, and I felt this was important for all dogs, but especially one who could possibly grow to such a large size, which he did. There is no reason for her to think the dog will jump on her. She said that there is no way to know for sure that the dog won't jump on her, and if he does, our baby could be hurt. This dog has never so much as growled at her. She said even if the dog doesn't jump on her, her anxiety about it is bad for her health. She said she needs the dog elsewhere for her safety and the baby's. I told her that there was no way. My son got this dog right after he lost his mom and imprinted on him hard. Sometimes I think he loves the dog more than me. I'm not taking his dog. The dog didn't do anything. My wife said I am prioritizing the dog over her pregnancy. The dog isn't a threat to her pregnancy. If this were any other unreasonable request, I would just do it because she is pregnant. I just can't break my son's heart over a fear she has. That makes no sense. Am I being an asshole? I would microchip the dog, if you haven't already. Make sure info is up to date, and see if she will seek counseling. Compromise. Your kid needs his dog. NTA edit. Geez, thanks for the awards y'all. NTA. Animals are lifetime responsibilities. Pawning them off because she got pregnant would be a shitty thing to do. NTA. And make sure the dog is microchipped. Just in case the dog gets out, accidentally. NTA. Don't you dare give away your son's dog. He didn't ask for you to remarry and have a new child. Your son will never forgive you, or your new wife, if you allow her to continue to push this topic. She needs to actively work on coping with her anxiety. May I suggest therapy? NTA, but your title is wrong. You're prioritizing your son over your pregnant wife's irrational fear. I think it might smooth things over if you're open to considering reasonable measures to allay her fears, though. NTA. If you gave away my dog for that, I'd never forgive you. She is being dramatic. You're in for a very long pregnancy. Congratulations on the new child. Long ago, my now ex and I had two 70-pound Labrador retrievers who believed they were lapdogs. They knew something was up and were even more protective of my ex at the time. They knew somehow that she was pregnant. They stayed out of her lap. They guarded her. When my daughter was born, they were dedicated protectors. One was always close to the bassinet. The other was the scout, investigating any sound, prepared to protect that child. They were the same way when my son was born. Fast forward many years. I'm divorced. Our beautiful, wonderful dogs have long passed. My disabled adult son still lives with me. We now have two cats, because one of them very clearly chose him as his person. That cat is key to my son's well-being. Separating them would be a disaster for both of them. You can't give that dog away. Your son needs him, and vice versa. Unless your wife has some hostile relationship with the dog. This seems like a very natural, very understandable, very strong, but possibly irrational reaction to fears about this pregnancy. You don't mention your age or hers, but, given your son's age, this might feel like her last chance at having another child. All of these factors generate powerful feelings that can't be denied. If you give that dog away, your son will, rightly, resent you, your wife, and the new child. This is going to be messy, but you are NTA for standing up for your son and his dog. I hope you find a good solution. NTA. Assuming what you've said is true and the dog doesn't jump on people. Is she also going to quit driving? Quit walking upstairs? Or walking at all? Or leaving the house at all? Being alive at all is an inherent risk, and all sorts of mundane things are also a potential risk. I'm a woman. I've had a kid. If her anxiety is that bad, she should look into ways for her to manage it. Something is causing her anxiety and that should be addressed, carefully and with compassion. It would be extremely traumatic for your son to lose his dog at the same time his dad has a new baby. She is going to have some compassion for him with this and you will need to protect him. NTA. That dog is family. You're not prioritizing anything, you're just being reasonable. If you give that dog up your son will hate you, and rightfully so. NTA. Perhaps your wife needs therapy for this anxiety issue. She should talk to her doctor, who should be able to refer her to a therapist. The doctor might also be able to calm her fears somewhat by explaining what injuries might be inflicted if the dog jumps on her. You might also tell your wife that you'd rather rehome her than the dog. Maybe that will get her to come to her senses. Yeah, I know you're joking, but don't tell her you'll rehome her. I had anxiety during my first pregnancy, and I knew I was being irrational but couldn't help it. She's going through a lot, so reassuring her, talking with her doctor, and ensuring dog doesn't jump on her. I know the dog doesn't, but humor her, goes a long way. Also, I have a 35 lb 2-year-old who jumps on my pregnant lap. Not great, but sounds like the dog is more conscious than my kid. Don't rehome the dog or wife. You'll get through this. I would talk to her medical provider about pregnancy-induced anxiety. I got it around food, and I remember crying because I saw a billboard about French fries. Wanted to eat some, and felt like a bad mom for thinking about eating fries because they're unhealthy. It's okay, and even good to feel protective of your pregnancy, but the hormones can set that into overdrive. Mine also made me suddenly hate kids. I worked in chili care. I love kids, but every single thing was so annoying and gross, literally overnight. Just try to help her feel less overwhelmed. She says there's no way to know the dog won't jump on her. There's no way to know a tree won't fall on her. Or if she'll be attacked by a rabid raccoon. All of these scenarios are possible but unlikely. It's understandable that she's anxious and protective right now. But she can't live in a bubble. It's unlikely the dog will jump on her, but it's almost certain she'll forever damage her relationship with your son if she rehomes the dog. Also, getting rid of the dog would almost certainly cause your son to resent the baby. NTA. This extreme and unnecessary anxiety is 100% a product of the pregnancy hormones. My suggestion would be to have her talk with a third-party therapist about why she fears the dog so much, and so someone unbiased can explain to her how little risk the dog poses to her and the baby. Best of luck, Op. I had never truly experienced anxiety until I got pregnant and had my daughter. See if there is someone you both could talk to about her anxiety, because there is a lot more things to lose yourself in the anxiety hole than the dog, and dealing with it now would be ideal. Yeah, everyone in the thread is like she's being illogical. And it's like, no shit Sherlock. Pregnancy amplified my emotions and my fight or flight responses. I was on edge almost constantly. The first pregnancy was the worst with that. It's a biological response that there's little control over. If she's fixating on the dog that bad, she needs to talk to her OB/GYN. NTA. I say this as a person who had 2 Great Danes during 2 pregnancies. My children adore their dogs, and it would be cruel to rehome your son's dog, particularly at a time when he is about to have less attention available to him with a new baby in the house. Your wife is being completely unreasonable. Also, I see this happen constantly when a baby is on the way, the dogs get rehomed. When the baby is born, make sure you have spaces where the dog can't go, baby gates, etc. But please don't rehome a dog he, and your son, have done nothing to deserve it. Info. What was your wife's relationship with the dog prior to her becoming pregnant? Is she using the pregnancy as a reason to get rid of a dog she did not want? Never had an issue. My son does such a good job walking and playing with the dog that when the dog is in the house he is usually eating, napping, or giving everyone pet me eyes while he lays on the floor. They've never had a bad interaction.